Getting the latest on the investigation into the disappearance of 84-year-old Nancy Guthrie, of course, the mother of our beloved, dear colleague and friend here, Savannah. A few top lines there. The doorbell camera was removed. Blood on the porch came back to Nancy. They spent a fair amount of time talking about the timeline and the ransom letter as well. There's a look at the timeline. We're going to dig into that right now with our national law enforcement and intelligence correspondent, Tom Winter. Tom, let's start there. Let's start with that timeline. Very specific. Yeah. There is a window here. A window between 147 and 228. Let's focus on that.
Yeah, I think that window sticks out to me for a number of reasons. First off, the first sign that somebody is there who shouldn't be there, the doorbell camera disconnects. According to the sheriff, there are multiple cameras at the home. At some point, software that's attached to one of the cameras detects a person. That's at 2:12 a.m. And then 2:28, there's a pacemaker app that's on Nancy Guthrie's phone that is receiving updates from Nancy Guthrie's pacemaker. At some point, that shows that there's a disconnection there. So we can assume that just before 2:28, she has left the residence and she's been taken from the residence. That's a critical component of this. It also shows that somebody was at the house, Craig, for almost 40 minutes, right. Approximately 40 minutes. That shows that that individual felt comfortable being there and doing whatever they were doing as part of this abduction. Second thing I want to get to is the ransom note. Key critical new details there. We heard from the FBI today that they referenced an Apple Watch and a floodlight. Well, we've seen in all the video from the home floodlights outside of the home. Almost every home has them. But I want to show a picture of Nancy Guthrie right now. This is a picture that's been put out online. Look at her left arm there towards her wrist at her studio, obviously with our colleague Savannah. And you're looking at an Apple Watch right there. That was a photo that has been out there. There's been a number of photos, frankly, that have her Apple Watch. So one of the challenges that investigators have is the things that they're referencing are things that would be public knowledge or things that you could possibly have known even before this incident. We did learn today there's a deadline at 5 p.m. presumed to be local, so approximately 5 hours from now, Tucson time, 4 hours from now, Tucson time, where we'll hear if there's going to be any further communication. I think the thing that the FBI is talking about here, that they're pounding the table on, is exactly what our colleague Savannah Guthrie and her family said last night. They want to hear from whoever has Nancy Guthrie. There's two paths here, Craig. Path one, get Nancy Guthrie to somewhere safe, drop her off. The family's not going to ask you any questions. Path two, reach out to the family, try to establish that communication. They want to have that discussion.
Deadline 5 p.m. and they also mentioned the second deadline as well. They went out of their way to also say that so far the family has not heard from the abductor or abductors, which is atypical in a kidnapping case.
We thank you for watching, and remember, stay updated on breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or watch live on our YouTube channel.